courage and speed. They weren't just names in a comic book either. Michael had looked them up in the encyclopedia, and their powers were all combined in Captain Marvel. On that night, in the mysterious cave, the wizard named Shazam told Billy Batson he had been chosen to fight the forces of evil because he was pure of heart, and no matter how sinister his enemies were, no matter how monstrous their weapons, all he needed to fight them was to shout the magic word, Shazam. Alas, on the streets of the parish, the magic word did not work for Michael Devlin and his friends, and for at least 3 years they had debated the reasons. Maybe they needed to get the powers directly from the Egyptian wizard. Maybe the word didn't work because they weren't pure enough. Or because, as his friend Sonny Montemarano put it, Captain Marvel was just a story in a fucking comic book. Still, Michael insisted. It might be true. Who could ever know? Maybe all they had to do was believe hard enough for it to happen. Michael was snapped back into the present by the sound of the wind. First, a low moan, then a high-pitched whine, a trombone choir, then a soprano saxophone, Tommy Dorsey's band, and then Sidney Bechet, the names and music he had learned from the radio. It sounded to Michael like the voice of the light. He sat up, his heart pounding, wondering what time it was, afraid that he had overslept, and swung his feet around to the floor. They landed on the Captain Marvel comic book. I wish I didn't have to do this, he thought. Sometimes being an altar boy was a huge pain in the ass. I wish I could just lie in bed and listen to the wind, instead of dragging myself all the way to Sacred Heart to mouth a lot of mumbo-jumbo in a language nobody even speaks. I wish I could fall back into this warm bed, pull the covers around me and sleep. But he did not sink back into the warmth. In his mind, he saw his mother's disappointed face and Father Heaney's angry eyes. Worse, he felt suddenly alarmed, as if he had come close to the sin of sloth. Even Shazam warned against sloth, listing it among the 7 deadly enemies of man. And Shazam wasn't even a Catholic. The word itself had a disgusting sound, and he remembered a picture of an animal called a sloth that he'd seen in a dictionary. Thick, furry, nasty. He imagined it growing to the size of King Kong, waddling wetly through the city, stinking of filth and laziness and animal shit. A dirty goddamn giant sloth, with P-38s firing machine guns at it, the bullets vanishing into the hairy mush of its formless body, its open mouth a pit of slobber. Jesus Christ. So Michael did not even raise the black window shade. He grabbed his trousers, thinking the antonym for sloth must be self-denial, or movement, or a word that said, get off your ass, get up and go. When the priests, brothers, and nuns were not drilling them in synonyms or antonyms, or the 11 times table, they were forever hammering away about self-denial. And so, buttoning his fly in the dark, he refused himself the pleasure of pulling the shade aside or rolling it up, and thus revealing the source of the luminous light. He would wait. He would put off that vision. He would offer up his discomfort, as his teachers commanded him to do, for the suffering souls in purgatory. Be good, be pure, accept some pain, and thus redeem those who are burning for their sins. He could hear the chilly orders of his catechism teachers as clearly as he could hear Shazam. Shirtless and shoeless, he hurried through the dark living room and past his mother's closed bedroom door to the kitchen, which faced the harbor of New York. The fire